All right. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Today's
Shalom.
yeah, today's date is something like what's this? Is this the first? Is it 31st? What's today's date? December
31st
December 31st,
came.
2022.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot my daughter's birthday. Cuss me out.
It's my parents' 46th anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
To them.
Daughter's birthday was the 29th. Pretty well, I'll get to it next time. Maybe next time. That's probably the daughter that forgot to tell me happy birthday on my birthday. That's probably why I forgot this year on her birthday. That's one way to look at it. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm wrong. All right. So today we're going to read about a very interesting topic. We're going to be reading out of the Genesis, the book of Genesis, the 32nd chapter. After we finish our dialogue from the first chapter, we'll have questions. See if anyone has any questions, then we'll go into the next chapter. All right. Are you guys ready? We're going to read a little bit about Jacob. And we're going to read about when he goes from one territory to another. One territory to another. And this is right, I believe this is right after his father died, passed away, or his father going to pass away soon. And he's going to meet with his brother. But remember, when he met with his brother, he had so much fear for his brother Esau. And he was afraid because he didn't know how Esau was going to receive him after he had done so much to his brother. His brother had conceived to be do evil. His brother had considered what he did to his brother as evil, so his brother wanted to kill him. Remember, family, this is like 20 years earlier or 20 years later. And a lot of things can change within 20 years. Obviously, Esau's that he hadn't seen for 20 years was different. All right. So we're going to get started. We got our reader in the house, so I guess I don't even have to ask no more who would like to read, because we got our reader here in the house. And we're going to start in Genesis, the 32nd chapter. May the Most High God, my mind, my spirit, my body, my language, and my speech, as I approach unto you, his people, may the Most High be praised from everlasting to everlasting, for he is great. All right, sis, you got the flow.
Reading from Genesis chapter 22nd.
Genesis chapter what?
Reading from Genesis chapter 32, verse 1.
Thank you.
And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of the Creator met him.
Now, when you read this, I don't know why they mention this. You know, normally when they talk about the angels of the Most High meeting with somebody, they really tell you what took place. They had a talk, they had a conversation, but they didn't say anything about what the angels of the Most High met him for. Didn't say anything, but I'm going to clear it up in a little bit. Read on, please.
And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is the Most High's host." And he called the name of that place Mahanaim.
Mahanaim.
And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom.
All right. Now, I want y'all to highlight that part right there. When Yaakov sent messengers before him unto his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Highlight that part, because we're going to come back. I'm going to ask some questions, and I want y'all to tell me what's going on, Read on, sis.
And he commanded them, saying, Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob says thus, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks, and men servants and women servants. And I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and
Jake's,
distressed.
he's scared. Now, let's talk for a second. Let's go back to the second verse. Third verse. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of Elohim met with him. Angels of the Most High, they met with Jacob. And when Jacob saw them, he said, This is Elohim's host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Something is not making sense here. Something ain't sitting. I mean, does that make sense to y'all? What was the purpose of them mentioning that Jake met Elohim angels of the Most High? The angels of the Most High met him. What is the significance to that? Why is it even mentioning the fact that the angels met Jake? Somebody give me a hint if you know. If you don't know, then it's okay. You don't have to know. But anybody want to take a jab at it?
Can you repeat that question one more time? I got kicked out.
Oh, you got kicked out, huh? Why is it mentioning that Jake went on his way and the angels of the Most High met him? Why is that part being mentioned?
I kind of saw it as the angels being the messengers that met Esau.
That girl's sharp.
Mhm.
That girl's sharp. Who your teacher? Say the Most High. All right, thank you.
The Most High.
I want to share something with y'all. Most people don't pay attention to this. But in this particular verse, we dealing with a power that people don't understand. We dealing with a supernatural, spiritual energy that Jake has the ability to do, and a lot of people don't understand. Jake don't even know what he got the ability to do. Jake don't even know what's going on. Let me share this with y'all. The Hebrew gives you a hint. And Jake, now you ain't hear me say that this morning in my sleep or nothing, did you? I'm not eavesdropping, talking about me in my sleep. Talking about I'll be talking in my sleep. I probably said it. She probably heard me. And when Jake saw them, he said, This is Elohim host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Who was those messengers? The same word for messenger is the same word for angel, malachim. So when you see where it says, when Jake saw them, or in Jake, first verse, and Jake sent on his way, and the angels of Elohim met him. If you read that in Hebrew, let me see what it says in Hebrew. Yaakov halek, Jake went. Jake went. Ledariko, on his way. Waikna bo malakim alachim. Oh man. He went on his way and he met. And let me see. And he met and we met We met,
Oh,
and
she
we
said
met,
she won't know until we get there.
Okay. Yeah, yo.
and we came, or we met the Malachim, the messengers of the Most High, or Elohim. They went and they met the messengers of Elohim. And in verse 3, it says, when he sent messengers before him, it says, Vayishlach Yaakov Malachim Lifnei. It says that Jake, old man Jake, sent angels on his way. So Jake had the ability that a lot of people don't understand how the spirit realm works. Remember, Jake was unsecure of his future. And I promise you, he had a conversation with the creator, and he asked the creator about what's going on. He asked the Most High about what's going on. And he's going to throw a lot of this blame to the creator about his situation and where he's going. But Jake sent messengers or angels to his brother with a message. Now, whether those angels was going to come face to face, or whether they were going to come in a vision by night, I don't know. But this says that he sent angels to his brother. And when you send angels, you send angels with a reason and a purpose. So let's read a little bit more and let's see what happens. Read on, please.
Reading from Genesis chapter 32, verse 7.
Are we that far down? I went that far? Man, go ahead. You got it.
Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that were with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels into two bands, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. And Jacob said, O creator of my father Abraham, and creator of my father Isaac, the creator who said unto me, return unto thy country and unto thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee.
He's afraid. When those angels came back, those angels said, yo, man, your brother's on his way here. He got 400. I don't even think they talked to him, but they saw him along the way and came back and reported that message to his brother, to Jake. He on his way, and he got 400 men with him. And Jake was afraid because he remembered the last words that Esau said to him. I will kill you. So Jake is afraid. And so would a lot of us be afraid, not knowing what had happened. But it's something that I want to share with you that Jake, see, remember when Laban's in the last chapter, Laban's sons were afraid. I mean, Laban's sons became jealous of Jake because he got wealthy and his father didn't have nothing. They wasn't just talking about cattle. They were talking about cattle, male and female slaves or servants as well. When a man is wealthy, a man provides for more than just himself or his biological household. He provides for others and people who didn't come out of his loins. And a lot of times these men have people who work for them or him, or their livelihood is based off of that man's income or what that man does. Today we call it employment. Today we call it employment, but yesterday it was called service. So a man that was wealthy, he had multiple servants. And in today's world, we see it slightly different. Today, we're too proud to be another man's servant, but we'll work for that man. We'll call ourselves an employee, but we'll say he gave me a job, but we're too proud and too arrogant to say that I'm his servant. But in reality, that's what you are. Anytime you work for someone else, you're their slave. That's what you are. But it's okay. Sometimes we all have to play the role of a slave until we get in the master's position. It's okay. Don't let it deter you if that's what you have to do. Do it temporarily, do it with joy, and be the best slave that you could possibly be. Y'all smiling, right? Okay. Read on, sis. Let's see where we at.
Genesis chapter 32, verse 10. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast shown unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands.
Now, he's saying, I started off with nothing. And now look at me now. You know, he's reflecting from where he come from to where he now currently is. His life condition, he was poor, or he just had enough to make it. You know how a lot of us do. And then when he comes back to this same Jordan that he crossed over 20 years ago, he's come back increased. I don't know if y'all understand me. So I'm put it to you like this. When I was a young buck, running wild in the streets, a lot of my old heads was on the corners, selling drugs, getting high, smutting the girls, drinking weed and getting drunk. I ran past them. And 20 years later, I ride down that same neighborhood street, and some of my old heads are still in that same place, doing the same thing and not accomplishing much in life, not accumulating much in life, not developing here much in life. How many people do you know like that from 20 years ago? They got a little older. You can see the roughness in their face, the gray hair and the beards, and see what they have progressed in life. But think about some of your family members. How many people do you know in your life that you used to see 20 years ago that's still in the same condition? That means that a man hasn't learned, a man hasn't developed, a man hasn't grown. I got some family members that I know. When I was a boy, they used to get put out by their women all the time, go from house to house, sleep from house to house, nowhere to live. And 20 years later, or now 25 years later, it's the same condition. Sad, sad situation when a man doesn't develop. And partially when a man doesn't develop because a man hasn't learned who he is, or a woman hasn't learned who they are. As you go through life, you should accumulate things. You should accumulate wealth, intelligence, responsibility. You should accumulate family. You should accumulate these things. Don't have to be in great abundance, but it should be a change in life. For when you look at yourself today versus who you were then, you should see a drastic difference of 20 years. You should not see and be the same as you were back then. If that's the case, you've wasted 20 years of your life. You haven't excelled. So look at your life, man. Question your own self. How much have you improved in 20 years from where you were 20 years ago to where you at right now? Because I know I got a lot of work to do to get where I'm supposed to be. I know I got a lot to do, but I ain't nowhere where I was 20 years ago. But I got a lot further to go, a lot more work to do. But you got to be real with yourself. And that's part of the problem. A lot of us are not real with ourselves. A lot of us are in and out these bad relationships 20 years ago, and turn around today, we still doing the same thing, in and out a bunch of bad relationships. A lot of us wasn't walking in the ways of the Most High. Look at them 20 years now later, today, and they still ain't walking in the ways of the Creator. Still doing this, still clubbing. 46 years old, and they still out clubbing. The same thing they was doing 20 years ago. Talk about they gonna meet Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, and they out at the party, clubbing. Jake came to that same river, the Jordan, that he crossed 20 years earlier. He said, when I came across here, I came with my staff. That's all he had. Remember, he was sleeping on rocks. That shows you poverty. He was sleeping on rocks. He came with his staff. And then when he come back 20 years later by that same way, he got two bands. He separate those two bands of people, meaning he had a lot of responsibility, a lot of duty. He had arrived to manhood. He had arrived. So he came back increased 20 years later, as every individual should be increased 20 years later from where they were 20 years ago. If not, then they're failing in life and it's time to change direction. Whatever you've been doing, if you keep on doing what you've been doing 20 years more, you're going to be getting the same results. Change your cycle. And if it's been working for you, then keep doing it, get better at it. But if you realize that 20 years later, you've gotten worse, something wrong. A lot of that 20-year experience, because 20 years ago, you was living in your mom's house. They was paying the bills. So life was pretty cool. 20 years later, you supposed to be paying the bills and it got worse because yeah, it's time for you to change direction. The challenge don't come till you start doing for yourself. All right. So Jake was happy or satisfied with the results that he seen. Read on, please. Let's see where we at.
Genesis chapter 32, verse 11. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. And thou saidst, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude.
He ain't got no problem reminding the Creator of what the Creator promised him. He said, I only got a little bit of children right now, Creator, but you said you should make me as the sands of the sea. So you can't let Esau kill me, because if you let him kill me, then your word that you said cannot happen. Sometimes you got to call the Creator on this stuff. Sometimes you got to call the Creator out. Be like, yo, this is what you told me was supposed to take place. So what's up? Sometimes you got to call the king out on his thing. Let him see where you stand. Read on, please.
Verse 13. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand, a present for Esau, his brother.
He lodged there that night and took of that which came to his hand, and present and a present for Esau, his brother. What I want y'all to pay attention to is this. In Jake's sight, he's trying to, remember Esau is slightly older, about a minute or two. And Jake is trying to appease Esau. So therefore, he's taking something that belongs to him and he's offering to Esau as a gift to try to deter Esau from wanting to kill him. Do y'all follow me?
Okay.
Now, where you go, now remember, he's on a road going toward where Esau is, but yeah, Esau's coming to him. He didn't expect that. But when you go into a man's house, you're supposed to take a gift to the man. When you go visit a king, you're supposed to take a gift. Esau never left the land. Jake did. Jake on his way back. So he's looking like I'm returning respectfully. I'm going to give a gift. The gift might not be 10%, but that gift is a portion of what he has. So it isn't just like he's giving back to Esau. He's really giving a portion to someone that he sees to be his superior. He's humbling himself. He's showing honor within the family or the bloodline because Esau is the older brother. Y'all follow me so far?
Cain.
And the way that he left on bad terms with his brother. So he's trying to smooth things over, not by saying I'm haunted. He ain't expecting to go back and his brother wealthy. He is expecting to go back and he can benefit his brother by bringing some gifts to his brother. Where his brother might look at him and say, hey, my brother, all right, he took care of me and gave me this. I ain't gonna pay that no mind. Don't worry about what happened 20 years ago or 20 something years ago. We cool, you still my brother. He's hoping that that's what will happen. So he's giving a portion of what he has to his brother. I hope y'all are hearing what I'm saying. It's causing the wheels in your mind to turn. Read on, sis, please. Let's see where we at.
Genesis chapter 32, verse 14. 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams.
Now look at that. 200 she-goats, but only 20 he-goats. Why? Somebody tell me why.
Because of the milk.
The milk?
Oh, and the babies. I mean, the breeding purposes.
Tell me about the babies.
You can breed to extend your flock, and you can breed to sell and barter as well.
My question is, why 200 females and only 20 males?
Because the more females you have, you multiply your flock. Easier.
Something I'm looking for. I want to hear it. I
Just
want to hear it.
The 20 males could help the females reproduce. You don't need the same even amount.
One ram to
There you go. Say it again, bro. Say it again, bro.
one ram to a few other females, the she goats.
One ram will knock off at least 15, 20 of them females by himself. One ram. So you know, even in the man's world, one man can provide for multiple families. Yes, one man, a man, not a male, a man can provide for multiple families at one time. Same thing was here symbolically with the male goats. Not that y'all was wrong. Neither of you were wrong. And I think both of y'all was on the same point, but I wanted to hear something particular. And my brother said it, that one ram, the male goat, could take care of good 30 of those female goats by himself. So therefore, the proportion was stagnant. Because I think we had like 5 to 10 goats, female goats, and we had 2 males, and they would beat each other up. All right, come on, sis, let's go. I just wanted to make that part known, that's all. Not that y'all didn't know, but just to make sure y'all was thinking.
Verse 15. 30 milk camels with their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 she asses and 10 fowls. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, pass over before me, and put a space between the drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asks thee, saying, who art thou? And where goest thou? And whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, they are thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us.
He's trying to smooth the way for his coming. Read on, please.
Verse 19. And so he commanded he the second, and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying, On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau, when ye find him. And say ye moreover, Behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face. Perhaps he will accept of me.
Mm,
So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford Jabbok.
Now y'all gotta watch this. What he did was, in the night, he woke up in the middle of the night and was unsecure about where he was. His mind was racing. You know his mind is racing because he's thinking about his future. He prayed to the Creator and said, Creator, you said that I would do all these things, but yet I haven't done it. But now my brother's coming toward me with 400 men. You notice he didn't make prayer to the Most High until after he got report of his brother. So now man, let me tell you something. He's in deep thought. He want to carefully preserve his life and the life of his children. So any move he make had to be strategic. He's in deep thought because now his future relies on the decisions that he make. So in the middle of the night, he couldn't even sleep. He gets up, he packs up his wife and his children, and they move over to the river of Yabok. They cross over Yabok. See, he focused, he's thinking, and he's prepared. But something like this has to take place in the mind of a man in order for the Most High to communicate with him. You know, prayers, real prayers, are deep meditation. Deep, deep meditation. You know, I like to say that you've never learned how to pray until your life depends on it and you reach out to the Creator. Because then your prayer is totally different than what we do every day, 3 times a day. Your prayer is enhanced, so your soul open, and your essence just reaches out to the heavens. On a normal prayer, you just lay down on the floor, maybe, or you just stand where you at, and you just speak some words. But your essence isn't a part of that prayer. But when you really, really need something from the Creator, every prayer you make at that moment will be deeply felt by the Most High because you learn how to communicate with him. You open up your essence to him. Right now, Jake really, really needs something from the Creator. He needs the Most High to preserve his life. So he opened up his essence to the Most High, unlike he had ever did in those 20-something years before. And watch what happens. Watch what happens. This could not have happened if he wasn't afraid or if his soul wasn't opened up to the Creator. I've always taught that an Israelite man is at his very best when situations around him are at their very worst. An Israelite man of the Most High is at his very best when situations around him in his life are at their very worst. Because a man is going to fight to survive. A man is going to fight for the answer. A man is going to do what he got to do to preserve his life and win. A male might just give up and die and crumble or walk away or don't even take on the challenge. But a man is going to fight. And in the process of fighting, you open up your essence when you make prayer to the Creator for guidance and help. And this is what our forefather did. And in that, the Most High sends him a messenger to tell him what he needs to do. And what I said about fighting, that's exactly what's about to take place. Old man Jake is about to have a fight. In his sleep, in the spiritual realm, they're going to be rumbling. But it's real because the spirit realm is real. Oh, they're going to be rumbling. Him and another individual. He don't even know who it is. All he know they in there rumbling. They getting it in. But he was a man. And a man don't just give up and walk away and act like ain't nothing happening. A man confronts his challenges head on and conquers and dominates his challenges. Males, a male see a challenge and the male be like, I don't really feel like all this right now, man. Let me go in another direction. That's not what men do. Men do what they have to do. So let's see what happens, what takes place here. Read on, sis.
Reading from Genesis chapter 32, verse 23. And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over what he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him unto the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him,
When
he
the
touched
angel of the man saw that he didn't prevail against Jake, because Jake knew that his life was at stake. He was wrestling with this man in the spiritual realm. They getting it in, they fighting, but he ain't giving up. When this man that he was wrestling with saw that Jake wasn't gonna give up, and Jake was determined, the man does something. And watch what he does.
he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him.
He knocked his leg out of joint, out of socket, out of place. How did that man know how to do that?
He
That
was
ain't-
skilled.
That's right. But this ain't no regular man that we talking about. This man had the power of the Almighty upon him. And yet Jake was wrestling with him and beating him up. What does that say about Jake? Or better yet, what does it say about you being a descendant of Jake? What kind of power do you possess that makes you strong, that makes you mighty, that makes you an Elohim? What kind of power you possess? See, Jake was in tune. He knew who he was. He knew the bloodline that he came from. He knew what the Most High promised him. And he used that. Do you use it in your cause, in your fight, when you cry out to the Creator and you are in need? Do you remind him of the covenant that he made with your forefathers, thereby making it with you? Read on, sis. Let's see what happens.
Verse 26. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh.
So what difference does it make if the day is breaking? What difference does it make? If he would have held him past that daybreak, what difference would it make? What happened was they was in a dream world. If the day broke and he had to wake up, the dream wouldn't have been completed. So he says, almost time to wake up, man. In other words, it's almost time to wake up. Let me go. No, man, I ain't letting you go. Oh, let me go. I ain't letting you go. If you want me to let you go, then you got to bless me. What is that all about? How did he know that what the man he was wrestling with had the ability to bless him? How did he know all these things? Read on, please.
And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob.
He didn't pause. He didn't hesitate. He didn't try to negotiate. You know why? Because he came with that purpose. But he had to prove that Jake was worthy. I don't know if y'all know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
The Most High got a lot in store for you, fam. He has many things stored up for you, but you have to show him that you're worthy. You have to show him that you're going to earn this. And when you do get it, you're going to fight to keep it. You're going to grab it by the horns. You're going to shake it around. You're going to choke it on the ground. And you're going to take and command it. And that's what a lot of us don't do. Look at all the things the Most High has placed in your possession. How good of a steward are you over those things? How good of a steward have you been over the lives of your children, those that you had to raise up and teach about the oneness of the Most High? How good of a steward have you been over the things that the Most High placed under your control throughout the duration of your life up until this point? Because all that stuff is going to determine the blessings the Most High places within your life. You have to show him. You have to show him that you are worthy. So you ask yourself, how good of a steward have I been with the things that the Most High has placed in my life up until this point right now? And that will determine how much more the Most High was willing to place in your hands under your authority and in your control. Y'all follow me?
And
We're quick to say, create, I want. But what did you do with the last things that he gave you? How good did you take care of those things? Remember when Jake went across the Jordan before, all he had was a staff. 20 years later, he came back, he had increased to 2 troops. That's a lot of people, a lot of souls. He had accumulated a lot of wealth, a lot of spiritual knowledge. He had accumulated these things. He was commanding angels. Come on now. He was doing some powerful things. What have you done in the last 20 years that you can open your mouth and say to the Creator, what's going on with me? This is what I demand of you, or my request of you. What have you done with what the Most High has given you that you can come back and say, Creator, what's up? How long ago did he teach you that you was his child? How many other souls have you waken up to the knowledge that they are also his children? How many children did he place in your care that you taught about him, that you raised up and elevated them in the consciousness of the Most High? How many men had you been in a relationship that you might have introduced them to the Creator, even if y'all ain't together no more? Or did you succumb to the tricks of the streets just to have temporary satisfaction and gratification and walk away from this life temporarily to please the flesh? Because a lot of us do these things. You got to ask yourself, am I worthy? And if you find that you're not worthy, then you got to change the direction of your life and become worthy. If you keep doing the same things you've been doing that got you where you at right now, you're going to always get what you've always gotten. And it is what you have right now. The only way that you're going to change anything about your future, so it doesn't look like it's been looking in your past, is that you change your mindset, your thinkings, your doings, and the way you think. Do something other than what you've been accustomed to doing for all this time. Change your environment and go in a different direction. Associate yourself with new people. Stop hanging around and being with those same individuals that you've known for the last 30 years of your life, and it didn't result to much. Change your circle. Change your purpose. Ask the Creator for direction and move out. Be a man of your word, a woman of your word, but whatever you failed in, change it immediately and become the epitome of what you're supposed to be. Let's get back to the readings, please.
reading from Genesis chapter 32, verse 27. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said,
Hold on. No, it's not your fault. It's my fault. Somebody tell me why he asked him what's his name. What does your name signify?
Who you are, where you come from.
Who you are, Basically, your name signifies ownership. It shows ownership. Yaakov ben Yitzchak. It shows ownership and who you are and your purpose in life. All that stuff is denoted through a name. At this moment right here, and I hope you all can hear what I'm about to say. At this moment right here, Jake's purpose in life would change forever. He will no longer be the person that he was 22, 23 years prior. He will no longer be that person anymore, and he had a greater job in the earth. Therefore, his name was changed from Jacob to Israel. When you came into this knowledge of who you are as a child of the Most High, did you change your name? Maybe that's why you still living the same life you've been living previously. That's why you find it so hard to get away from the world. That might be the reason why it's so difficult for you to get in touch with that desire you have inside yourself to reach and touch, communicate with the Creator. That may be the reason why. Because you never changed who you were. You do that by changing your name. It's one thing to be called by a name, but it's a whole nother thing for that to be your name. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? It's deep. And have others to call you by that name and address you as such. You can't be the same person you were 20 years ago. Change has to take place in your life. And when that change comes, it should be for the better. The better. I got an uncle. When he was young, he stayed in and out of jail. Most of my life as a young buck, he was in and out of jail. He'd tell me stories of how I used to go up to the jail to see him. My mom would take me up to see him when he was incarcerated. When I was a buck, I don't remember, but he told me the stories. When he got a certain age, he changed his environment, he changed his behavior, he changed his life, and he stopped going to jail. Had he stayed in that same place, that same environment, doing those same things, he would have got the same results. Incarceration. So 20 years later, his life would have been the same as it was 20 years ago. Jake had to get a new name. Not only did he have to get a new name, but he was given more responsibility. He was given a job. That job was given to him by the Creator. He elevated him. And he did it by the way of another man. In a vision, in a dream. But it happened. Read on. Let's see what's happening. Thank you, sis.
Reading from Genesis chapter 32, verse 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel.
No more shall your name be called supplanter, as if you're a manipulator, as if you can't be trusted, as if everybody got to watch you. No longer is that going to be your name. Your name is now going to be Yisrael. He shall see the Most High. That's what Yisrael breaks. That's one of the ways you can break Yisrael down. The Yod, which is future tense for he shall. The Ra or Roe is to see. El, Yisrael, the Creator. That's one way to break Israel down. But they have a different definition. He who wrestles with the Most High and wins. He who struggles with the Most High and survives or prevails. Read on, sis. Let's see what it says.
And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Yisrael. For as a prince has thou power with the Creator and with men, and has prevailed.
For as a prince, as a prince. He wasn't a prince before. Now he is. He's been elevated in rank, in position, in authority. He's been elevated. And with that elevation came a new name. And with that new name, all of his children have a new title. And it's called the children of Israel. Therefore, when you want to show your ownership, what do you name yourself? Your surname should be what? Israel. It shows who you belong to. A child of Israel, of the Most High. Read on, sis. Let's go. This is hit me. I don't know how deep this is going with y'all, but this is some deep stuff. If you really listening and paying attention, there's some deep stuff. It says so much without saying anything at all. Read on, please.
Verse 29. Slick eye. Verse 29. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou don't ask after my name? And he blessed him there.
He said, well, wait a minute. You got to tell me your name because I want to pray to you. I want to praise you. I want to thank you. I want to mention to people what you did to me. And what the angel say to him? Wherefore are you coming after asking after my name? You don't need to know that. See, this is how you know that New Testament character is fictitious. Because they still worshiping and praising him thousands of years later, if it ever even happened. They still worshiping and praising and calling on his name. This understanding that this angel had about the mind of man, he was on point. He said, you don't need to know my name. Only name you need to know is the Most High. That's it. Give glory to the Creator. That's it. I remember one time I read a story about a man, his wife, she had got visited by an angel. And the man said, oh, I know angel came to see you. She said, yeah, an angel came to see me. She said, go ask the angel to come back. So the girl go make prayer, and the angel comes down to the husband and reveals himself. And the man says, well, what's your name? So that we may honor you. The angel turn around, look at him and say, wherefore are you asking after my name? There is none good but the Creator. You don't need to know my name. And then the angel stepped to the side and went up in a flame of fire. He said, oh, now I know that was an angel of the Most High. This is deep, man. See, you don't need to know that name because you have power over that individual in the spirit realm if you know that name. Why do you think nobody knows the name of the Most High today? How do you get something? How do you get the Most High to do something other than to call upon him? Call upon him using what? That's why we don't know it today, because we would abuse it. We would misuse it. We would tear it up because we haven't risen to that spiritual level of understanding the power of having a name. Therefore, the Most High took it away from us because we disrespected him. He took that name away from us. Let's keep traveling, sis. And then if you notice, right after he asked him his name, he said, you don't need to know my name. And then he blessed him. He blessed him. He elevated him. He increased him mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially. He just blew up from there on. I pray that y'all understand. And all that the Most High promised him, he fulfilled. When that angel blessed him, Esau might have been angry with him prior to this taking place. Esau might have been coming with those 400 men to devour him prior to this taking place. But the Most High El Shaddai will turn your enemies into your servants. He just got this thing about him, this power about him, that he will make those hate you serve you. And therefore, he takes all their ability to harm you out of their hands. And all they do is submit themselves to you. The Most High can turn energy in a second, from hatred to love, from despise to passion. In an instant, he's that great. This angel that Jake spoke with, when after he said what he said, he blessed him. And then we're going to read down what takes place in his life after that. Jake was no longer the same man when he awoken after the sunrise that he was when he laid down before the sun went, as the sun was down. He was no longer the same man anymore. His whole energy had changed. Has yours? And if your energy has changed, how has it changed? Are you still seeing the same relationships taking place in your life with other people, with yourself? Do you see the same results taking place in your life over the course of history of time of you knowing yourself as an Israelite versus you knowing yourself as being a part of the world? Or is things worse for you? When you take on a new name, you take on new responsibility and new purpose. Your purpose is no longer the same. What's your purpose today? Do you even know what your purpose is today? Are you living for your purpose today? Had you ever thought about that? Had you ever considered those things? Do you keep your word? Are you a man or a woman of your word? Let's read on, sis, because I'll be going to talk and brought up another subject, and we'll be going to rock the house even good, even worse. Read on, please.
Reading from Genesis chapter 32.
Oh, we
verse
still 32? Dang.
10.
Go ahead, girl, you got it.
Reading from verse 30. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen the Most High face to face, as my life is preserved.
Now I want to make mention here. Jake never said he's seen the Most High. What Jake says is that he's seen Elohim. And it doesn't say Ha Elohim, it says Elohim. And Elohim is a servant of the Most High. But he's giving glory to the Creator. Let's say we translate it the way my sister said, I have seen Elohim face, I have seen the Most High face to face. In reality, that's not what he says. But we can accept that because we understand what he's doing is he's giving glory to the Creator of all creation for what he did. He's not worshiping a man. He's not praising a man. He's giving glory to the Creator. And he names that place Peniel. Peniel is the name, one of the names that they have as an attribute for the Creator, El, supposedly, one of the attributes. Peniel, face of. All right. But he says, and it's the wonderful thing here, Exodus 33, I think it is, 34 and 11. Let me look real quick, family. Give me a second. Exodus 33, I'm gonna try 30, 34 and 11. Maybe it's 33 and 11. Exodus 33 and 11. Okay. I'm gonna read this real quick and then y'all tell me what y'all think. And the Most High spake unto Moshe face to face as a man speaketh unto a friend. And he turned again to the camp, but his servant Yahashua the son of Nun, the young man, departed not out of his tabernacle. This is when Moshe went up and spoke to the Most High. And it says, and Moshe spoke unto Most High face to face, Peniel with Peniel. Like Jake just saw the angel and dealt with the angel, he said that he saw the Most High face to face. His experience in life was as if he was dealing with the Creator himself. And if you look, the name that they gave him, Yisrael, they say one who wrestled with the Most High and won. But we know that he didn't wrestle with the Most High, he wrestled with the angel of the Most High. So therefore, he turned around and said, I saw the Most High face to face. Moshe right here is saying, well, the author of the book of Exodus is saying that Moshe spoke to the Most High face to face. Why am I reading this? Why is this so important right now? I'm going to read and show you. In the 18th chapter, in the 18th verse, Moshe turns around and talks to the Creator. He says, and he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. This is him, Moshe, speaking to the Creator. He says, show me thy glory. And he said, I will make my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Most High before thee. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. And he said, thou cannot see my face. Now, both of these two individuals we read earlier said they saw him face to face. The Most High, speaking to Moshe on the mountain, he said, thou cannot see my face. There shall no man see me and what? And live. No man shall see me and live. But we just saw where it said Moshe spoke to the Most High, or spoke with the Most High face to face in verse 11, as a man speaketh to his friend. That means someone was standing in the place of the Creator, and Moshe beheld their countenance. That means that old man Jake wrestled with someone in the place of the Most High, and Jake saw their countenance. They're saying that they had a dealings with the Creator face to face. And Jake was so excited because he lived afterwards. But it was already known that you don't see the face of the Most High and live. But it just wasn't known to us until Moshe's time, who came years after Jake. But even in that, you don't get to see the Most High's face and live. So Jake just said it. I seen the Most High's face and I lived. Do you know how much of a blessing that is? To behold the glory of the Creator and you get to talk about it? Read on, sis. Tell me where you at.
Genesis chapter 32, verse 31. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he limped upon his thigh.
You ever had a dream that affected you in real life?
Mhm.
Yeah. And this is a prime example of it. Read on.
Therefore, the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank.
Wow. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Any comments?
This is heavy.
It is. And what's going to have to take place is you're going to have to read it slowly to really get the full understanding of what's taking place. And a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't see it. A lot of people don't understand it. But if you take your time and be patient, after what you've heard today, read that chapter again and let it open up and reveal itself to you. And then you will begin to see things that you didn't see prior in your previous reads. All right. Are there any questions or comments before we close this out?
We're just reading that one chapter today.
Said, yeah, we just gonna do this one. Okay. That's all we need to do today.
So
So,
I have a question if possible.
yes,
Back in when Jacob met the Most High in Bethel, and he made that vow to him, and the Creator blessed him, well, not blessed him, but he like made that promise to him as he did his forefather Abraham. So we're saying that same promise of having the land is basically like to us.
absolutely. That same promise has been handed down to us. And in Isaiah, the 7th chapter, you'll see where the Most High says that will come to pass.
Isaiah 7.
Yes. Go there, Rose. Isaiah 7:1. Start there. Let me know when you get it.
Okay. I'm there. You want me to start at verse 1?
Please.
Isaiah chapter 7, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that
No, that's not it. Try Jeremiah 7.
Jeremiah 7. Okay. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Most High saying,
I'm sorry. Jeremiah might talk about it, I don't know. But go to Isaiah 14:1.
okay,
In my mind, I was in the right place, but I called off the wrong location.
sounds right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, Isaiah 14:1. For the Most High will have mercy on Yaakov and will still choose Israel and settle them in their own land. The strangers will be joined with them, and they will cling to the house of Yaakov. Then people will take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them for the servants and maids in the land of the Creator. They will take them captive, whose captives they were, and rule over their oppressors.
Okay,
Keep going.
that's enough.
Oh.
And that's it right there.
Mhm.
Wow.
So yes, that covenant still goes down to us, the descendants, thousands of years later. Okay,
And where is the land of Canaan, if that's where we're going back to, as well as other lands?
the land of Canaan is the land of Israel.
Is a land of Israel?
It was inhabited by Canaanites previously before the Most High gave it over to us and let us dwell there. The original land of Palestine, they call it Palestine, but Jerusalem was Jebus. And it was inhabited by what they call Jebusites. And as you read through the scriptures, you'll read about Jebusites here and there throughout the scriptures. Okay. Jerusalem was inhabited by Jebusites. Jebusites are Canaanites. So yes, that covenant should be handed over. It has been handed over to us, but we have to show ourselves approved to the Most High that we want this. Just like Jake had to show that he was ready for that elevation. Although the slavery, the captivity has been turned, it ain't gonna happen until we ourselves put our hands to it to make it happen. It's laying right there before us. We can't come together. We don't work together. We're on all these different mindsets and missions, and we got so much going on. And the Most High can't take us back into the land, the same condition we were thousands of years, 400 something years later, when we got kicked out of the land. Remember, if you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna get the same results. The Most High is doing something different now. He wants us to earn our way. And hopefully we will. I pray that he does. Any other questions? Are there any comments? Any questions? Everybody thoroughly understood the reading today. Okay, anybody have any thoughts they want to share with us, the family, about today's reading?
Shalom, shalom, family.
Shalom, sis.
I like the way you broke down how when Yaakov's name got switched to Israel, and then how now the children of Israel, you know how we were called the children of Israel. I never made that association before. I always thought that came from because the land of Israel was our land. So the name of our land. So that breakdown, that was deep. That was good.
I'm glad I could serve. May the Most High be praised. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Got the floor, sis.
When we first woke up, it was like in '79, and the brother and everything told us who we were, and it was just like, wow, I learned in the first hour what I didn't. It took me maybe a year to learn in church. So, coming to the knowledge of the Most High in this manner was just like, a duck to water, you know what I'm saying? We just dove right in. But when we read, the brother and everything showed us Isaiah 45, I believe it is. Let me see. I think it's 45:4. For Jacob, my servant's sake, and Israel, mine elect, I have called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. So then we was like, well, what are you talking about? We know about Jacob and, Israel, mine elect. But what do you mean by calling me by surname? So then he took us over to Isaiah 44.
44. Mhm.
I think it's 44:5. And it's written, one shall say, I am Yahweh's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh, and surname himself by the name of Israel. Thus said Yahweh, King of Israel, his Redeemer, the host. I am the first and the last, and besides me there is no Elohim. There's no creator, there's no savior, there's no anything. It's just Yah, and the Most High. And so when we learned that, what I'm saying, it was like, oh, ping, we're going down there to, the courthouse, and we're going to change our name, and we're going to do this, because I felt like we were straddling the fence. And I felt like some people in there was calling us by our, seriously, I thought we were straddling the fence, and some people and everything that we were with, they would call us by our old name, and then our new Hebrew friends would call us by our Hebrew name. But what if we had a party or something like this where we invited them both? And even though, the old name was to honor our parents, the new name was to honor Yahweh. And so we was like, it's hands down. We got to honor Yah. We got to honor the creator who put us in the womb to even be born in this manner. So therefore, we just went to it and we changed our name. And the day that we realized that we needed to change it, the day that we did change it, it put a new aspect on the whole thing. There was the same sun, there was the same sky, there was the same clouds, but we were different. And we saw things different. We saw things in a manner that was so enlightened that that was a point of no return. And that was a point that we saw then how okay, Yahweh, we're showing you that we're serious about this. Now, you know what I'm saying, you show us what that meant. And so in exchange, you know what I'm saying, Yahweh just blessed us immensely, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, once we started putting ourselves towards Yah, he'll start putting, you know, we walk towards him, he'll walk towards us and meet us halfway. And that's what happened when we changed our name. It was just, I can't even put no words to it. It was just deep and it was very worth it. So when we were shown these two scriptures, it was like, no, it was a no-brainer for us. It was a no-brainer. And all of our children and grandchildren, even great-grandchildren, have Hebrew names, you know. So praise the mighty Yah. Hallelujah.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. She just bore a record that it took place. This whole lesson took place in her life. She understands. She was given purpose and meaning, and everything changed. The whole world opened up to her once she changed her name. It means something. It does. It means a lot. Who would like to take the mic next? Tell us what this lesson might have meant to you, or what it might have said to you, or what you got out of all these words. You have the floor.
I really liked the breakdown of the name Israel. He shall see the Creator, or the one where we fight with him and win, both of those really. And I like that. I really appreciate and admire and am thankful for the fact that the Creator let us have such a meaningful name as that, because to me, that makes, in my thought process, that makes me think like, well, he wants us to prevail with him. You know, he as our king, but he wouldn't give us such a name with such meaning and give us even the opportunity, or our ancestor, our forefather Jake, the opportunity to fight with him, or, you know, his representative, and win. Like, he wants us to be that. Like, he wants us to be elevated in his likeness in that way, you know. He wants us to remember who we are. And I think it's really powerful that the Most High even lets us have a name breakdown like that. It's because it's like he could have gave us another name that had nothing to do with his name at all. It would have still been grateful, but he gave us something that had direct link to him and his power and who he is and his character. And that speaks a lot to how he loves us, I think, to me.
What parent would not want that for their child?
Exactly.
I mean, what parent you know gonna go 9 months, carry a baby, the baby born, the baby come out, and they gonna call him Head. Head. That's his name, Head. Anybody gonna name their child that? S-H-I-T, Head. Who gonna name their child that after 9 months of carrying in the womb? That child will grow up with a terrible life. Hey, where you go? Hey, Yisrael, are you present? Yeah. That's gonna be a horrible life for that child. Think about it. So the Most High, yes, he gave us a powerful name, but in giving that name, he gave us responsibility now. We have something to live up to. And I want you all to know also that Yisrael is another name of the Creator. That's found in the scriptures. Yisrael is another name of the Creator. The Most High say we are called by his name. What name do you think he's talking about? The name Yisrael. Any other questions or comments? Shabbat Shalom, Sister Tucelia.
Shabbat shalom.
Any other questions or comments? All righty. No one wants to say anything else about the lesson? Okay. Who would like to close us out with prayer today? Oh, did you want to say something, sis?
Gang,
Yeah, you got the floor.
I was just about to say that I can also relate to the name changing, experience. And for me, I already had a Hebrew name from birth. A lot of people, I'm assuming, when they come into the culture, they change their name to a meaningful Hebrew name. So, so for me, it wasn't about just changing my name to a Hebrew name, another Hebrew name, because I already had one, but all of the things that I did under that Hebrew name, in the past, and really stepping into a new life, a new person. I'm not even that person I was before 20 years ago. Really, so that was a key point for me. I'm like, wow, the time frame. But it's just interesting how you can read the Tanakh so many times and have one understanding or get, different understandings that you come up that you get, and then you read it again and you have a whole new understanding of what different section, what different chapters mean, different books mean, what I mean? So it's just powerful and it is very exciting.
May the Most High be praised. It's a lot when a person recognizes what the Most High has placed on their lives. It's a lot. It's a blessing. Because a lot of people go through life never acknowledging or recognizing their purpose or what the Most High has done for them. You got the floor.
You talking to me?
Did you want to say something, sis?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, when you come into the knowledge, right, and how the name, you just don't choose a name, do you? Does your name come? How is your name revealed? Is it because to me, Hebrew names, as I've seen it in scripture, comes with a function, right? And when you come to the knowledge, how do you change the name? Is that name revealed to you by the creator, or?
A name for a woman can come in different ways.
Okay.
Usually when a woman gets married, her husband will change her name and give her a name based on the attributes in her character that he sees. Sometimes the Most High will give that woman her name way before she even meet that man. And he'll give it to her in her thoughts and her inward parts, and she'll know that that's her. She'll know. She can identify with that. So there's different ways and methods that you can get a name. Another thing is that when the Most High gives you a name, you know that that's your name. It's not a question about it, Like my name is Aramaic. Kizaridar, Aramaic. And I didn't know a lick of Hebrew or nothing about a Hebrew Israelite when I got my name. I was born under a different name. And the Creator revealed my name, who I am, and my purpose many, many years ago. When I was still in the streets as a young guy, maybe about in the 9th grade, he gave me the name Kez, K-E-Z-Z. And I ran with that for a while. And then I came into the knowledge of Israel, and he gave me the fulfillment of my name, Kizaridar. And I haven't met another Kizaridar except they came out of me. And I sat down and I went to Hebrew school. I went to college, Gratz College for Hebrew. And when I was in school, my teacher was from Israel. She says to me, "Do you know what your name means?" I said, "No, I don't know what it means," because I didn't know what it means. I didn't even speak Hebrew when I got the beginning of my name. And she sat down, she broke it down for me. She's the one who taught me that my name was Aramaic. And my name means the creator shall protect the king. I didn't know that. She told me, a white lady, your name means the Most High. And she broke it down and showed me where it meant the Most High will protect the king. I got it written down somewhere in one of my books from a long time ago. So it's something how the Most High brings you into your position, but when he gives you your name, you have a major, major purpose in life. And you have to live up to it to the best of your ability. Sis, does that answer your question? Or does that help with your question?
Yeah, because I'm thinking, because you're saying that sometimes a female, a woman, may have a husband who may give her a name. Is that depending on what her characteristics is like, or
Yes. Her purpose, her characteristics that he sees within her. Yes.
and the acquired name that she gets, right? Would that be, I'm thinking that the creator might have to reveal it to that man.
Oh, of course.
Because she has, to me, she should feel that within her own spirit, that is her name, and the function of that name she should be able to carry out. You know what I'm saying? Because the name is so important.
He will begin to feel that and take that position in her life. He will begin it. Even if she doesn't even know what the name means, she'll begin to live out that purpose.
Yeah.
That's a struggle between her and herself. But usually she submits herself to the will of the creator. She will live out the purpose and the meaning of her name.
Wow. Okay.
Amy?
So, as I was listening, I heard something that Ima Yoshi said about it being a party, or like people can have a party when you change your name. And one thing that I recall growing up in the community I grew up in, when people would come into that knowledge of knowing themselves as African or, as Black, they would change their name, and it would be a ceremony. Like it would be something that we would do in front of the community, all community, almost like a wedding or a blessing way, so that the community can embrace this new name that you've taken on, and that the community now addresses you as that. And they also understand the responsibility of the name that you've chosen, so they can help you to uphold yourself to that name. Like being who my parents were, of course, me and all my siblings were born with conscious names or names that meant something. And we were constantly reminded of having those names. And even when I gave birth to my children, and all of my nieces and nephews have names that mean something. And so I was thinking about, I like what Ornette said, like, even though when you're born with a conscious name or a Hebrew name or whatever, right? You get to a point when you become conscious of something else inside of you that you may want to change your name to fit who you are at that point. And I know when I first came into this way of life, I chose Medaya just off of looking up words that I wanted to represent my relationship with the Creator. And even doing that, I called myself by that name for a little while, not even very long, because at the time, I didn't feel like I was living up to it. The place I was in, the person I was with, it wasn't living up to that name. And so I went, started, just kept the name I was born with, which later I found out when you say it a certain way, it's Hebrew as well, right? So, but then, once I I would say, moved out here to the country and everything, I started just doing more things and connecting myself more with the Creator and aligning myself with His will, you know, and nobody else's. And then you and I started courting, and I told you my Hebrew name. And then, you know, I legally changed it. I can clearly say, like, that moment of changing my name and accepting my fullness of being an Israelite and carrying that name, Yisrael. And, you know, some people say letting go of my father's name, but I feel like I didn't let it go where I may not have it on my on my license or my new name change. But, you know, what they taught me is internalized forever. And then also realizing that that name carried something else from when my father, you know, named himself that. And because of the power that he served as the power that he serves, that's what that name represented. So a lot of times it's like, even in the understanding of who we are, if we can recognize, you know, why we were named a certain thing, and then recognize, okay, is it a good thing or a bad thing to take a new name, and understanding the meanings of it, and truly understand that once you embrace that name or that title, and definitely once you change it legally, because that's what you're going to be addressed as, then you have to purposely make a true statement within yourself that you're going to live up to that name. Because as you said, that's another, Yisrael is another name of the Creator. So all of us who call ourselves that, like, are we truly living up to that name? Or are we just naming ourselves that to say, hey, I'm an Israelite, so I'm gonna change my name? If you get what I'm saying. I think some people grab the name or grab names because it sounds good and it looks good, but your character still, you have to uphold yourself to it, or the people around you can help you build up yourself to it. Kind of like what you said about when you name a wife or when you name your child, you know, you have this vision and you see the characteristics in them that they could be better. But it also takes, I believe, as an adult, when you choose a name, it also takes you purposefully and endearingly saying, this is who I'm choosing to be. And I'm not just carrying this name because this person over here said that name looks nice, or I looked in a book and it looked good, you know, or this person over here gave me that name. I'm carrying this name because it truly means who I'm aspiring to be or who I am. So I think, you know, a lot of times we got to look at those names, and then I think we have to celebrate when somebody does it. Because I know for me, growing up and seeing that and having that community support is what keeps people intact. It's kind of like the whole thing of it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village for us to raise one another too, and to keep us in that unification and that endurance of this new life. You know, we always talk about wedding celebrations, and I rarely see in this walk of life where, you know, births are celebrated in a cultural way or name changes are celebrated. You know, we'll celebrate death, we'll celebrate life, but we don't celebrate the in-between. And those different things, having a new name is a form of a new life, you know, and carrying on or bringing forth a child is a form of a new life for that mother, that father, that family, and that child. So, you know, I just think we should consider certain things of helping others too attain some type of pride and understanding of, you know, when they choose that name. So,
Okay, that was a whole lot. But the thing is that the Creator put you in position that when we start that community moving like we're supposed to, these are some of the things that you can help to implement. I pray that you don't forget. That's a lot of responsibility, princess.
I won't forget.
Anyone else? Any other questions or comments? Another thing is, if you decide that you want to change your name, a lot of times you have to go to the courthouse in your area and get the instructions from the courthouse as to what needs to be done to change your name. legally on their documents. So that you can actually get the birth certificate, the social security card, the driver's license, and everything changed over. All right, once you get the social security card, it's done. Because you just take that to the driver's license place, they change that, and you go and
So-
order your certificate, it's a wrap there. And you don't have. Another simple way to do it is to get married to a man that already has that name, Israel. Once you get that name, you won't be able to change your first name, but you'll be able to change your surname, your last name. But if you want to change your first name, you got to go through the courts to get it done, and it can be done. Amy, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was saying the birth certificate part, you don't have to change it. Because I know when I tried to do it, they were saying that, well, in DC where I was born, they don't allow you to change it. But once I went to the court and got that certified copy, I was able to do everything else you said, like the social security card and my ID. And that's all really I needed to, I didn't even need my birth certificate to change my name, but to change my license and everything, I didn't need my birth certificate. I just needed my new name that was notarized by the government, by the judge or the government, whatever you want to call it. And and when I changed my social security card to my name, I just needed the proof that I changed my name. So.
There you go. Are there any other questions or comments at this time? All right, we're going to close out today's lesson. Is there anyone who'd like to close us out with prayer? Okay, you got it.
Holy Father, most gracious King, Master of the universe, we humble ourselves as we come before you, begging for your permission to approach unto your holy throne. Toda Rabbah, Most High, for allowing us to come before you on this special day that you have set aside, a holy day of rest, of convocation, congregating with our brothers and sisters, to not just honor you in praise and dance and song, but to honor you in your word, to learn and to gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of who you are to us and who we are to you and who we are to one another. Most High, I ask that you be with all of Israel in the four corners of the earth. Please, O Most High, be with the unsheltered, be with those who are in the prison houses unjustly, be with those who are in the sick beds, O Creator, and be with the motherless, be with the widow and the motherless, or the fatherless. Most High, I ask that you be with our elders, be with our children, O Creator. Be with our children who are separated from us, O Most High, for the different things that we have caused them to separate from us, and they have caused themselves to separate from us. Keep them covered, O Most High, as you see fit. Bring them back unto you, O Most High, when they are ready. O Most High, I ask that you be with our elders and allow them to be with us, and allow us to take advantage of the time that they are with us, O Most High, to ask them the questions that we need answers to be better individuals, better adults, better parents, better aunts, uncles, wives, and husbands. Most High, allow them to bestow the wisdom that they have learned on this earth as long as they've been unto us, O Most High, so that we won't make the same mistakes that they have. Most High, I ask that you continue to be with my family as we embrace this second week of my uncle being home after being locked down, chained up for 37 years in this imprisonment system unjustly. I ask that, O Most High, that you strengthen him, gird him, continue to show us your mercy and your miracles, O Most High. Cure him, O Most High, of the diseases that this system has placed in him. Most High, another special prayer for another political prisoner who is locked down and ailing, Most High, as his wife just passed. Strengthen him, Most High. Strengthen his family, those children, for their long time devotion to the empowerment and betterment of our movement and of our people. Most High, I ask that you be with each and every one of us on this call, on this day, in this house, and all the houses that serve you, O Most High, and serve you only. Be with us, O Most High. Strengthen us. Allow us to continue to walk in your path that you have set before us. And if it be your will, O Most High, allow us to be successful in all the endeavors that we have sought out to be, to do, and to accomplish. And O Most High, a special prayer for the community that we are building on Beulah, O Most High. Bless the hands of our work, if it be your will, O Most High, and bless the hands of the works of all those who are coming forth to be in a resistance to us, O Most High. Those who call upon your name and those who do not, who have opened up their arms, their hearts, their visions to help us to bring into fruition a community for your people, your children, who honor and glorify your name. Toda Rabbah, Most High, for all things and everything. Toda Abi, Toda Rabbah. Selah.
Before we go, that was a nice prayer. Thank you for that prayer. We need that, so many of us in our inward parts. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I feel like there's some things we need to talk about. Am I right? There's something, somebody here that has something in their spirit we need to have some discussion on?
Well, I did want to say, and I forgot, thanking the Most High for bringing Ornette back to our midst after her ailments and her mourning time with her family, and praying that, you know, the Most High has strengthened her and her family through this time. But thankful that she's back with us, being a reader, and the Most High continue to bless her.
May the Most High be praised.
Sorry about this.
And